This is Omar Nashashibi in Washington, D.C. with an update on the U.S.-EU trade relations and preparations for the upcoming G7 summit in June. The United States and its allies are continuing talks this spring as the Biden administration works to shape trade policy and, in their minds, reshape and repair relationships. The U.S. Trade Representative Katherine Tai met with her counterparts recently from the G7, a group which includes the United States, Germany, France, the UK, Japan, Italy, and Canada. The G7 trade ministers at that time also said they likely will meet again here in the coming weeks in May, ahead of the Leaders' Summit hosted by the UK in June. The trade ministers issued a statement a few weeks ago saying that they support a global trading system that is free and fair and works for all countries and peoples. They also discussed the impact of market-distorting practices, including those that are causing excess capacities in some sectors, and the impact they're having on economies, and how they can see a way to chart a course forward to address all of these issues collectively, meaning they want to show unity, especially in the context of China. But while that statement did not specifically mention China, the message was clearly pointed in that direction, as Western countries have long raised concerns over government subsidies to Chinese companies and manufacturers and utilities over there in particular. We are hearing that there are ongoing discussions, as there usually are around the time of the G7 summit, about how to address the Chinese overcapacity of steel and aluminum specifically, and how they would be able to export more into the US and EU, and they want to be able to stop that. However, we do still hear rumblings that the Europeans, beyond the G7, may not want to take as forceful a position against China as the US for fear of losing an important access to that export market. In addition, Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo is leading a U.S. virtual delegation at a group of 7 digital technology ministerial this week. The Commerce Department said that the U.S. delegation will focus on free flow of data, industry-led global standard systems, 5G vendor diversity, and other topics also directly and indirectly related to the Chinese rise. While China may bring many of the G7 members together, deep divisions remain, especially over the U.S. use of tariffs on its national security allies and trade partners. Trade Minister's statement did not mention the 25% and 10% steel and aluminum tariffs that former President Donald Trump imposed, but they did talk about some of the other areas. We have confirmed from EU sources that the Europeans have raised the issues of steel and aluminum tariffs multiple times at the highest level with the US government, including with President Biden himself. We could see some form of a statement from the G7 related to China overcapacity when the leaders meet in June, but those who are seeking removal of the Section 232 steel and aluminum tariffs outright are also trying to use that June meeting to pressure the Biden administration to terminate the tariffs, which right now still seems like an uphill climb. We do see that uphill battle to lift all the 232 tariffs, especially prior to the June G7 meeting, but there does remain some room for the president to negotiate, possibly with restrictions on imports in the form of quotas, as opposed to outright tariffs that we currently see imposed on most of Europe. A significant pressure point arrives on June 1st, when the European Union's retaliatory tariffs on American whiskey makers doubles from 25% to 50%. This is one of the many industries unrelated to the underlying issue of imported steel and aluminum that have been caught up in the Section 232 tariffs as Europe retaliated against politically connected U.S. industries, including American whiskey and other products. Since imposition of the tariffs, American whiskey exports to the EU fell by 37%, with exports to the UK, the industry's 4th largest market, dropped by 53% since 2018. Another point of contention between the US and Europe are taxes that target in-country revenues of digital services companies such as Facebook, Amazon, and Google, known as digital services taxes. The USTR has continued the policy of the previous administration and maintained the threat of US tariffs on goods from Austria, Britain, India, Italy, Spain, and Turkey in retaliation for their digital services taxes. The announcement, though, from USTR came after investigations into taxes adopted by these countries and found that they do discriminate against U.S. technology companies and are inconsistent with international tax norms. The U.S. is also maintaining a tariff threat against $1.3 billion in French imports that range from champagne to cosmetics and handbags in retaliation for France's digital tax. However, the USTR said it was terminating the Section 301 tariff investigations against Brazil, the Czech Republic, and European Union and Indonesia because these jurisdictions have not yet adopted or implemented digital services taxes that were previously under consideration. The USTR did say that if those jurisdictions do move forward with such a digital services taxes, the U.S. may launch an investigation that could result in tariffs on their imports coming into the United States. There are a lot of moving parts right now between the United States and its trading partners, and we expect May to be a very busy month for the trade ministers and as the countries prepare for the G7 coming meeting. All eyes in the trade world here in Washington are on how the U.S. is going to respond to the doubling of tariffs on American whiskey in the next 30 days. That does not leave much time for a resolution to the steel and aluminum tariffs. We will keep you posted in the coming weeks. In the interim, please contact your sea labor representative for more information.